The question was the need to re-examine our foreign donation laws.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks again for your question. I think we do need to have a look at donation laws, and the appropriate place to do that is when you're in an open, transparent, public place like the Joint Committee on Electoral Matters, which has to do a report after every single election, where the Greens are part of that committee, the Labor Party, the Independents and the National and Liberal parties, where we actually can all put that information on the table and discuss and debate it and come up with, ideally, joint recommendations that we can then take to Parliament and actually reform it, rather than treating it as a political football. Rather than treating it as a political football, Senator, because it is about confidence in our system, and people need to be convinced and assured that we as parliamentarians are acting in their interests, on their behalf, every single day that we go to work for them.
I'm just make this point, as a matter of conscience, any party could say we're not going to take foreign donations.
Absolutely.
And just make that a policy. Do you think your party should do that?
Well, I think we should, you know, I guess that's an organisational matter. I'd have to check that out. Well, so yours will, fantastic. Yeah. Well, I think if you're all so passionate about it, I'm really curious about why this wasn't part of your election platform. It might have been for you, Larissa, but it wouldn't have been for you, Doug. If we're so passionate about international donations...
To be fair, you still haven't answered the question as to whether you think your party should not take foreign donations.
I probably don't. We're one of the few countries in the world that does. So my personal view would be that there shouldn't be a reason for us to take international donations. But again, that is a matter for our organisations, and I would like to see a bipartisan or tripartisan approach to things like electoral reform and funding reform.
OK, thank you. Diley.
Look, there's so many layers here. I mean, first of all, to go back to your question, Aidan, you know, as an individual, as an elected member, you shouldn't be getting somebody to pay your debt. And for $1,600, it's very cheap then, obviously, to go and then make a, you know, speak on behalf on the South China Sea. So that's he was bought cheaply.
Bargain basement.
There was also $40,000 of legal bills, which ain't so cheap.
The other thing is, I think, in terms of the foreign donation, I believe we shouldn't, you know, first of all, the donation law should be actually consistent across the country. At the moment, the donation law in New South Wales is different to the state, to ACT, for instance, and then federal is different to state as well. So there's so many layers that is quite confusing. And I think, you know, more and more because, you know, organisations, political parties are relying on big corporate donation because they're losing membership, because members are not joining up to be part of the major political parties anymore. I would say go to crowdfunding. I tried that for my current election campaign, you know, although it took me 2 weeks to do crowdfunding, it should 6 months, but I think people should have a say in their, you know, in the party that they support, and I think having, you know, supporting the party by donating small sums, I think is better than going to major donors.
But the problem with individual donations is that Malcolm Turnbull will put his hand in his back pocket, pull out a lazy $2 million and throw that into the Liberal Party. Talk about buying influence. How about Malcolm and his millions?
And how about the unions with their millions?
Because that's a democratic,
it's without them even realising they've taken the money off them.
It's a democratic
At least you know where Malcolm Turnbull's money's come from.
At least the unions are a democratic organisation. A democratic organisation that you would know nothing about.
OK, all right.
Very democratic.